the idea or repropose the idea and the concept that your big butt, your pretty smile, and your paycheck or your income, if you a boss and got your own thing going on, they're a dime a dozen. But at the end of the day, what else separates you? And a lot of times women misconstrue what men want. Men want to be respected. They want to be acknowledged. They want to be appreciated. Men are simple. They appreciate the small things. They appreciate the minute things. They appreciate the minute things. The small things are what their woman can offer them that nobody else can, because it's tailor-made and specific for you. Even if it comes down to your favorite meal, to a hot bath or hot shower being started, making sure they come home to a clean house. The kids aren't hungry and bickering and out of control if you have children, right? They don't have to come home and fight a whole nother war that they felt compelled to fight on the outside, even if it's not literal. Again, if men are if they're not in their safe space, then they're on alert. They're in survival mode. They're in provision mode. It's a whole emotion that as women, we're not going to understand, even if we mimic them by doing it for ourselves, because we're not men. We're not built to be men. We're not comprised of men, and we don't have what men have. We're not going to be able to accurately understand what they go through on an emotional, mental, psychological, or physical level, right? So I say these things because we have to regain some balance. When I listen to a lot of the issues that go on, and I'm not in any way, let me just make a disclaimer here, I'm not in any way exempting men from being responsible, from reciprocating those same expectations, such as respect, such as consideration, such as sacrifice. But right now, because I am a woman and I see a lot of the men being shut down, emasculated to the point where they just move around. They're not dealing with that. They're not dealing with it, y'all. We're going to have to do something different. We're going to have a different approach. We're going to have to be more delicate. We're going to have to sit more in our femininity. We're going to have to really recognize that this is what we were created to be, and that we're not in competition with our men. Where do we go wrong with that? Why? Because we make a bag? Because we're able to be self-sufficient? We're not successfully raising children on our own without the fathers in the home. Granted, there are a lot of fathers that choose not to participate in that. And I'm not speaking on them. I'm speaking on the ones that want to be fathers. And if it doesn't work out between you and that father, that you don't weaponize the children against that father. That's the type of stuff I'm speaking on. Because guess what? At the end of the day, that man's going to adapt and he's going to react accordingly. But those children are going to be affected, and it's going to affect their future relationships that they haven't even been able to form yet. Talk about it. This is real life here, right? I'm talking about the men that want to be providers. They want to participate. They want to establish legacies. They want to build families. There are a lot of them out here. Now, if you're not attracting that kind of man, then guess what? It's time to start looking within and trying to figure out why and what you are doing and contributing to the point where you are not attracting that kind of man. It can't always be somebody else's fault. It's not going to always be somebody else's fault. Even if it's in your mind, you're going to end up lonely, alone, and delusional. And you're going to always be bitter because you're going to always blame other people. We cannot continue to go this route and expect to build community. That the core family and the community is the only way, with everything that's coming down the pike, with the powers that be, their agendas, their intended outcomes, things that they have been putting into play decades before we were even made aware that that was a possibility, when they called them conspiracy theories. You think that as a single woman or a single man, you're going to benefit, you're going to be in a better position to move around and combat whatever is coming down the pike? Nope. Ain't gonna happen. Hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I don't care how much your bag is. I don't care if you got your own business. I don't care how fine you are. Looks fade, baby girl. Looks fade. Them boobies sag. That booty starts getting jiggly. Them look, the little neckline and all of that. I don't care what kind of. It's only gonna buy time, but it's inevitable. Okay. And so I want to transition a little bit and say that beauty exudes from the inside out. We live in a culture where people go to other countries to get their teeth done, their booties lifted, their boobies done, whatever it is that they don't want to put the work in to do to improve themselves, that in their mind makes them more marketable. Guess what? That's going to fall too. That's going to fade as well. I've never seen, unless that 70-year-old or 60-year-old has spent a lifetime working out 6 days a week, eating right, getting enough rest, living a stress-free life as much as possible. That's a diamond in the rough. But overall, all of the things that a lot of women value, you're going to get to an age also where you're not going to have the energy to hold down businesses and jobs like you did 20 years ago, 15 years ago. Okay? So at some point, then what? You expect your kids, if you have any, to take care of you when you get old because you're old and don't have a relationship? Is that what it is? Where we at with it? Let's talk about it. We got to think a little bit further out than 3 months, 6 months, or a year. How about 5 years? When you go to fill out a job application, if they don't ask it to you anymore, guess what? On the job application, they do in the interview. At least they used to. That was one of the top 3 questions you could bank on being asked by an interviewer is, where do you plan on being in the next 5 years? What are your goals within the next 5 years? I didn't realize how much validity that particular question had. It's very important. And I think anybody seeking a relationship should be asking that potential partner the same exact question, if not 10 years out. So where do you anticipate on being in 5 years? Come on now, let's keep it 100. You walking around, and if your mouth is your impediment, if it's impeding you getting into a good relationship, a long-lasting relationship, a respectful relationship, a mutual relationship, a reciprocal relationship, it's okay to do some self-reflecting. It's okay to understand that, guess what? I'm not designed to be perfect. I wasn't created to be perfect. So for me to put that expectation on myself and think that there's nothing wrong with me and that everything that goes wrong is everybody else's problem, they need to be doing reflection upon themselves, because I'm good. We're delusional. We are delusional if you're walking around thinking that, right? Let's keep going. Hold on, y'all. I get to be special sometimes. Okay.
See, baby, the fact that y'all been together for years and it hasn't been perfect, it shows that you at least love each other enough to keep on trying. But when you've hit those rough spots and you decide this is your chance to break that man down with what you say, you know what you said too, right? Yeah, that stuff. In many situations, that's that kind of stuff that you can't come back from. Because it's hard for a lot of men to come out and tell you how they really feel, their deepest secrets, desires, insecurities. But if all it takes for you is to get mad at him and your tongue becomes a sword, baby, 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 you become a part of what ruins the relationship. You ruin the chances of it healing in any type of way. Here's why. If you want to know why he's done the things that he's done, because there's always a root cause. He's not going to tell you once you cut his throat, because as much as he loves you, if he doesn't feel that he is safe with you and that you're genuine about trying to build each other up and restore the relationship, it's never going to work. Be well. See, baby, the fact that y'all been together for years and it hasn't been perfect, it shows that you at least love each other enough to keep on trying. But when you've hit those rough spots and you decide this is your chance to break that man down with what you say, you know what you said too, right? Yeah, that stuff. In many situations, that's that kind of stuff that you can't come back from. Because it's hard for a lot of men to come out and tell you how they really feel, their deepest secrets, desires, insecurities. But if all it takes for you is to get mad at him and your tongue becomes a sword, baby, 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 you become a part of what ruins the relationship. You ruin the chances of it healing in any type of way. Here's why. If you want to know why he's done the things that he's done, because there's always a root cause. He's not going to tell you once you cut his throat, because as much as he loves you, if he doesn't feel that he is safe with you and that you're genuine about trying to build each other up and restore the relationship, it's never going to work.
Listen, she said it so eloquently. Let me just say this. Once you cut a man with your tongue, you have brought his defenses up. Now, inadvertently and unwillingly, he is going to look at you like he looks at people he don't know, that he doesn't know what to expect, that he does not. And yes, Miss Yo Thoughts, it definitely goes both ways. That's definitely worth mentioning. Thank you for bringing perspective to it. And I hope that the women don't take this a certain type of way, but that's where my message is resonating today. And I'm going to get off into the men too. It may not be this stream because my spirit and my mind and what I've seen and what I'm observing is that men will react and they will reciprocate the energy that they are given. In most cases, I'm generalizing, right? And I say that because we are living in a time where women's voices seem to set the tone when it comes to politics, when it even comes to finances, in areas where men have known to be dominant and they have been known to rule and set precedents and have dominion. Now it has done a total flip in most instances. If at the very least, those positions are now being split and shared, right? And it has given the illusion that we are equal. Now, in some aspects, people can perceive us to be equal, but there are some aspects where we are inaccurate and we are not on the same playing field, right? And so basically what she's saying is that once that tongue becomes weaponized and you use it as a weapon in order to tear down and in order to emasculate because you're in your feelings, you're not going to be able to take those words back. You're not going to be able to rescind that spirit that you have given him. And once he gets it one too many times, now you are the same and you're not different from anybody else outside those four walls of the dwelling that you share, that you live in, right? And so I feel really strongly about that because I have sons and it starts with your children. You teach your sons, and in my son's case, they have both of their parents, right? Being active and accessible in their lives if that's what they choose. My oldest one is grown, but he still has access if he needs it, right? So the thing is when you have children, this doesn't start when you become an adult. This starts with the mother raising and being the first female and feminine in energy and influence in her son's lives. They're going to, even if it's subconsciously, and even if they fight it because they don't like you as their mother, there are certain qualities about you that they don't want in a woman in a relationship. Subconsciously, that seed has been planted. There's going to be certain things that they're going to have to be very aware of and fight and combat and make intentional decisions that this is not what I want. This is not a woman that I choose because of this, this, and this, and this, and this. So it doesn't start when they're grown. It starts when they're young and they're being molded and they're impressionable. Because if they can't trust their mother and they can't look for their mother to be a model of what type of woman to select, or girlfriend, first girlfriend, whatever the case may be, they're not going to have a barometer. They're going to be out there. They're going to be subjected to a lot of different things, right? And so I totally agree with her on that aspect. Now, that's why I like to give male and female perspectives. So one thing I want to say is that disrespect is unattractive no matter whether you're a male or a female. It is not an attractive quality. It seems to sting a little bit more when it comes from a female, because you kind of, based on a male and a man being created in such a way, it goes down a little more palatable. I think you can tolerate it a little bit easier. But when it comes from a woman, it seems, and I could be wrong on this, I'm just going off of what I've seen, how I've been some like long time ago, but I was still there at one point, right? And I had to unlearn and relearn. I had to change my mindset, and I had to be held accountable for my mouth and for my forked tongue, right? To the point where I can speak on it now because I've been on both sides. And I regret that when it comes to me, because I see at that time it didn't resonate with me how deep it goes with the man. And you can really destroy a man based off of your tongue alone. You don't have to hit him with anything. You don't have to assert him in any other way. But with that tongue is going to determine a lot. It's going to make an impression and a difference that you didn't anticipate. And a lot of times when we speak from emotion, hindsight is always 20/20, but it's too late at that point, because now you done planted that seed, and now that brother looking at you like, ooh, you said you was able to say that to me? You were capable of saying that to me? And you haven't apologized to saying that to me? Okay, yeah, not as much as I love you, I gotta move different. I gotta look at you different. I have to perceive, and I gotta question everything that you say, because it's the state of your heart, your spirit, your character that's coming off a certain kind of way. No man wants a woman that's, if not more so, is equally as aggressive as he is. If that's the case, he can go deal with a man. He can go deal with a man if he wants that type of energy matched. And that's just the real. So there's a distinction. There's a difference. There's a different expectation, right? You come at a man and you matching his energy. Not only are you confusing him, but you're turning him off. And you're making him look at you like you're suspect. So whether you like it or you don't like it, that's the reality of the situation. And that's why accountability and self-reflection can be so helpful and it can be a peace tool that gets utilized in the concept of a relationship. And the reason is because you're not walking around like you can do no wrong, like you're perfect, like it's always somebody else's problem, like it's always somebody else's responsibility to find a solution or to make adjustments and to make sacrifices. I want us to get past this notion that women can only have the expectation of being women, but everybody else has to sacrifice because you are feminine and you are a woman. That is craziness to me. Because if that is the way that God created us, then things would be in order, and they are not. Women are raising children alone. Women are, and I'm not saying and implying that it's all women's fault. I am just saying that a lot of times when women have the primary defense of the tongue and of disrespect and of matching men's energy as leveling the playing field, you're not going to get the result that you intend to get. You're going to feel better for the moment, but the long-term effects are going to be detrimental. And if for nobody else, you can get over it, that man can get over it, but will those children get over it? Will they recoup? How will it impact them to pick their spouses or to choose members of the opposite sex? Right? We got to think about stuff like that. You talk, what's that concept? You treat people the way that you want to be treated. Come on now. Come on. How powerful is that? If a man came at you with the same tongue that you go at him with just because you in your feelings or you feel like you've been aired or you didn't, he didn't meet your expectations, so you're going to lash out because you can't whoop him naturally or physically. So now guess what? Now I gotta this right here. But is it going to really, really backfire when it's all said and done? Because it's cute when you're in your 20s. Yeah, it's okay when you're in your 30s. In your 40s, ain't nobody gonna be bothered with that. Ain't nobody gonna tolerate that. And in your 50s, you done hit a brick wall, right? So listen. Don't shoot the messenger. All I'm saying is that we have to think about what's further out. And we have to get back to spiritual principles. We have to incorporate God into our relationships, y'all. We cannot run our relationships based off of man's concepts and basic principles that are created off of emotion and individualistic mindsets alone and expect for us to have long-term positive outcomes. I appreciate y'all. Much love, peace, and blessings. I'll see y'all in the next chat. I love y'all. Have a great night.